The Nationals got swept by the Toronto Blue Jays up in Toronto, but let's start with some positives, and that is MacKenzie Gore. If you remember this past few seasons, you would probably understand that when MacKenzie Gore doesn't have his ace stuff, he typically gives up a lot more runs than what he did yesterday. But I think in yesterday's start, it proved that he has gotten over the hump, and I'll explain why.
You are Locked On Nationals, your daily Washington Nationals podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And thank you all for making Locked On Nationals your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. And of course, I am your host, Ryan Clary. You can catch me over on Twitter at RyanClary11 and as well as our show page at LO_Nationals. For all your latest Nationals news and notes, make sure to check us out over on Twitter. And of course, look up Locked On Nationals wherever you get your podcasts, whether it's on Apple, Spotify, and of course, the video version over on YouTube. Just look up Locked On Nationals and hit that subscriber button. Later on in today's show, Torpedo Bat Talk is making its way down south to Washington, D.C. If you have not heard of what a torpedo bat is, I'll explain that and much more because Mike Rizzo, the president of baseball operations for the Washington Nationals, he commented on it and he even said it himself that they have ordered some torpedo bats. I'll explain what that is and what that means for your Nationals offense in the third segment of today's program. But we start off discussing also just some early offensive struggles for the Nationals. This has been a thing, although not everything is that bad, but early on through 6 games, it has been great. We'll discuss that and kind of the early season struggles here, but I want to start off discussing MacKenzie Gore and him just getting over the hump in yesterday's ball game. And as we were saying in the cold open yesterday, if you were to kind of watch yesterday's game, which I'm going to assume you did, but let's also say that you didn't. MacKenzie Gore did not have his ace stuff yesterday, which we have seen time and time again. It's Major League Baseball. You're going to have your off days. In years past, MacKenzie Gore, when he does not have his good ace-like stuff, that's typically when he goes 3 innings, gives up 6 earned runs, and typically has one of those blow-up innings where he is bloated with runs and gives up 5 earned runs, walks a few guys, gets up a big hit in the gap, and it all just kind of lets loose, and all of a sudden the Nationals are in a big deficit. In yesterday's ball game, in just his second start in 2025, I think it proved that he is ready to take that next step up into being the Nationals ace. If you look at his stuff from yesterday's ball game, he was still good, but he was not at, really in my opinion, not even close to what he was on opening day. Overall, he had a quality start, but it's taken him time to get to this place. It has taken him a lot of work and really a lot of mental stuff that he has to get over and not really just compile all these mistakes. And all of a sudden, it's a snowball going downhill and he gives up 6 earned runs in 1 inning. Yesterday could have been one of those starts, and it was not. I think that this shows that our number 1 starting pitcher has finally kind of gotten over that hump. We can now expect MacKenzie Gore to go out there each and every 5 days and go in and deliver us a quality start, even when he doesn't have his ace-like stuff. Because again, I cannot get over this fact. The reason why MacKenzie Gore's ERA is really inflated over the past few years is because of games like yesterday, where he goes in, he doesn't have his strikeout stuff. He only had 5 strikeouts yesterday, coming off a 13 strikeout game in just 6 innings against the Phillies on opening day. He did not have his ace stuff. And in years past, again, you see him just blow up in the middle of the inning where it's walking a couple guys here and there, giving up big hits. And that just was not the case in yesterday's ball game. Yesterday showed growth. And I think that goes into a ton of what the Nationals have been preaching about MacKenzie Gore since day one. We have always talked about on this show of who kind of Gore reminds me of. It's Max Scherzer. The way that he is so competitive, the way that how seriously he takes his start days and how he has this routine in place and he does not break it. He reminds me a lot of Max with his intensity of going about his starts. But now you have the intensity that is there and you use it in a sense to where you no longer have to worry about his blow-ups and him getting mad at the umpire or kind of, I'm not going to say throw a hissy fit out there. It's not what he does. But he gets upset at himself when he's not pounding the zone, where he has situations where fielders aren't making the best of plays, because we could talk about CJ Abrams not making the routine plays, but my God, does he make the web gem plays that we have seen over this series. Yesterday just felt like a huge growing moment for MacKenzie Gore, in which has led us to now say, this guy is our ace. This is undoubtedly the best pitcher that the Nationals have on their roster. Because again, yesterday just was not his best day. He had 12 swings and misses, which is pretty high, but he kept the Nationals in the game when he did not have his best stuff. How many times in yesterday's ball game were you sitting there wondering, how the heck was that not a hit? I mean, they were killing the baseball at first. And when I mean them, I mean the Toronto Blue Jays off MacKenzie Gore. Let me pull up some of these exit velocities for you, because this was some of the things that I was like, oh my God. Like, I mean, he is just getting rocked up there at this point. Early on in the game, you saw George Springer, who hit that home run in the 4th inning. That was a rocket ship. Then you had a line out from Anthony Santander at nearly 105 miles per hour. You had Bo Bichette in the 2nd inning at 103 miles per hour. And then you even go a little bit deeper, Miles Straw early on in the game, 100 mile per hour exit velo. Then you had a line out for Vladdy Jr. at 100 miles per hour exit velo. In years past, these things start to kind of crumble for MacKenzie Gore. Giving up 9 hits in those 5 innings. We have seen that. And I think yesterday just shows the growth that the Nationals ace has had going into year 3, a full year 3 with this Nationals team now. So yesterday, I felt encouraged. And today, I still feel encouraged because, again, what a performance from MacKenzie Gore. In a day that he clearly did not have his best stuff, he continued to go out there, continue to fight, went up against a very good offensive team with the Toronto Blue Jays, and he went toe-to-toe with them for 5 strong innings and kept the Nationals in that ball game. But let's get into some deeper things of yesterday's ball game, because it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. The Nationals, unfortunately, got swept, and they have put themselves in a pretty big hole to start off 2025. They are now 1-5 on the season. They've got the off day today, but my God, this team right now, it just seems lost. It does. And I think when you kind of look at it from a deeper perspective here, like, where do you go? You have the Diamondbacks coming into town, and then you have the Dodgers. And then I believe after that, you go down to Miami. But this schedule right now for the Nationals, it's kind of a gauntlet, especially to begin this year, because you have got a Diamondbacks team that is really good. You've got Corbin Burns starting on Sunday. You're going to have to find a way to stockpile some wins here. And then you've got the Dodgers. They're 8-0 right now. Where do you go? I can tell you where you have to start, and it's by hitting the baseball and by playing good defense. And in which, in yesterday's case, you did not see very good defense. Although I will say this, Dylan Cruz, stud defensive outfielder. You haven't seen him play in center field yesterday. And you see what he can do. Throwing out runners at second, making diving catches to save innings. Dylan Cruz, the defensive stud, was not what I had back when we drafted him at LSU. Do you guys remember the talk around him and people being like, well, if Dylan Cruz is not going to play center field for the Nationals, is he really worth taking him number 2 overall? Because we all know why Dylan Cruz was drafted number 2 overall. It's because of his hitting capabilities and how the Nationals loved that and how he could do everything just great. And as far as an offensive perspective goes. but no one raved about his defense. In today's game, in 2025, we are here raving about his defensive capabilities, not just in right field, but also in center field, as we saw. On back-to-back plays, he almost made an insane catch in the right center field gap there on the warning track, kind of brace himself for impact. And you say drop the ball, but even then, it was an insane play to get there. Threw the ball in, made a great play on it. The very next pitch, lays out for a ball in center field, saves a potential run there, and the inning is over. He is an incredible watch defensively at this point. Some people, I'm not going to throw draft experts under the bus here, but they miss on that with him. This guy is a stud defensively, and you can put him anywhere in the outfield, and he's going to make plays, as we saw in yesterday's ball game. But let's talk about the offense, because Dylan Cruz is part of the offensive struggles. But even then, the Nationals overall, they've got some issues offensively. We'll discuss that after we tell you about our friends over at Monarch Money. And of course, do you ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment? It's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts and investments and spending in one place, so you stop just managing your money and start building wealth. When I started using Monarch, I realized just how much I was spending on food delivery, and now I budget smarter and save more. And instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch to check your finances and track spending and even plan long-term goals. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money and use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONMLB for half off your first year. And thank you all for making Locked On Nationals your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. And again, look us up over on YouTube. Look up Locked On Nationals and hit that subscriber button. Let's talk about these Nationals offensive struggles so far. And these are real. These are real issues, I think. I saw an article the other day from Federal Baseball, one of our friends here, my guy Sam, and it was, I believe the headline was, and I could be paraphrasing here, but the headline was that the Nationals kind of sold their soul for power. And in today's game, that's kind of what you have to do. The Yankees, you all know, they hit home run after home run after home run. It's the ballpark that they play in, but even then, they know what it takes to win. You got to hit for power. The Dodgers, they hit for power. The teams that win consistently, nowadays, you got to hit for some power. But there is a balance in there somewhere. And the balance is that you have to get on base, and you better be good with that power. I think right now the Nationals are kind of stuck in the middle, because if you look at the way that their lineup is constructed, you've got guys like Jacob Young, who's your everyday center fielder, who doesn't have power and doesn't really get on base consistently. And then you have Luis Garcia Jr., who is a high batting average kind of guy who you expect to put the ball in play nearly every single at bat. And that's kind of what you expect, and does have that pop where you can hit 20 plus home runs in a season. And Keibert Ruiz kind of falls in that same category as Luis Garcia Jr. CJ Abrams in that same category. But then you have guys like right now, in this case, like Dylan Cruz and Paul DeJong. Both those guys who have power, but are striking out at a really crazy rate at this point in time. Paul DeJong, for instance, on this year, hasn't really looked that bad. Really hasn't. But if you look at his numbers right now overall, with the strikeout rates that he has, he's striking out, he has 11 strikeouts in his 18 at-bats this year. Dylan Cruz, on the other hand, we've talked about this a lot with him here. Batting ninth in yesterday's. He's been as high as number 2 in this lineup early on, but he is still searching for his first hit on the year. he has struck out 10 times in his first 18 at-bats. The Nationals are striking out at an absurd rate at this point in time. They are top 5 in strikeouts in Major League Baseball, behind teams like the Braves and the Cubs, who have also really been struggling here early on offensively. The Nationals are going to have some kind of balance here offensively. And I think that point that they were making over at Federal Baseball, that is exactly kind of what it is. But also, you have to take that with a grain of salt, in my opinion, because power is today's game. The Nationals have not had power over these past few seasons. If you look at them now through their first 6 games of the year, their power is pretty damn good. I believe as we sit here today, they are 11th in Major League Baseball in slugging. That's kind of where you want to be as far as like top teams go. That's where the Nationals really should be. That's where every team should be, in that 11th category there. Because again, yes, they are 11th behind teams like the Yankees and the Phillies and the Cardinals, Dodgers, Diamondbacks, the Orioles, teams that are really up there and competing every single day. But you have to have some balance eventually. And I also think the offensive struggles, while they aren't getting enough hits, and their batting average and their team batting average, for instance, is really low. And it's pretty concerning today, as they sit 19th in all of baseball as far as batting average goes at .213. They're going to have to find some balance eventually here. And at this point in time, it's not coming from the guys like CJ Abrams. Sorry. Yes, it is coming from him, but it's not coming from your star players. James Wood, Dylan Cruz, guys like that. Nathaniel Lowe, he's looked good. Paul DeYoung, you're going to sell your soul for power for him. That's what he's going to do. That's the player that he has established himself to be as a power bat. But now today, you got to wonder to yourself, is this the way that the Nationals really want to be? Is this the way that the Nationals are going to be in 2025? This team that wants to sell their soul for power, but also can't do the other small things like get on base and hit for average and just simply put the ball in play? Because when we talk about those teams that have high slugging, the Yankees and the Dodgers, they also do the other things correctly. And for all those people out there that I think, I've seen the memes. I'm on Nationals Twitter. When they're talking about Darnell Coles, it's not a Darnell Coles problem, guys. While it's easy to dunk on him and easy to say I'm not saying this, but it's easy for some people out there to say that he's not good at his job. I also think it's a little unfair because, simple enough, in my opinion, the Nationals, they have kind of sold their soul for power. They went into this past offseason knowing that they need to improve that department, and they have. But they have also kind of left the other things out the window here. I think mechanically, guys like Dylan Cruz, he's been good, at least from yesterday's perspective, because yesterday was just unlucky. Unlucky for Dylan Cruz. He could have had 3 hits. And I was looking at the number yesterday, and his 3 at-bats against the Blue Jays batting 9th, he had 3 balls in play that expected batting average 400 or above. I believe 2 of those were rocket ships that could have easily been in play, but they just made great defensive plays. Like Bo Bichette going up the middle, made a really nice play against Dylan Cruz. That is unlucky. At this point in time, when it comes to Cruz, because I think that he has been at the forefront of these offensive issues, it's a matter of time for him. He's going to get his first hit tomorrow night against the Diamondbacks. It seems as if that rest day that he kind of got to clear his head a little bit has paid off just a tad. But right now, the Nationals, they just need to get back on the right foot. And you need to take 2 of 3 from the Diamondbacks who come into town tomorrow, because you can't start off the year. Let's say you get swept again and you're 1-8. I don't know the numbers on making the playoffs starting 1-8, but I saw the Atlanta Braves yesterday. They fell to 0-7 as Shohei Ohtani. He walked off the Atlanta Braves in LA. I believe that one team over the last 40 years has finished above 500 with it starting 0-7. So they're digging themselves in a pretty big hole. Jerkson Profar, he's out for 80 games after a PED suspension. So a team that we thought would be juggernauts, a team that I thought would win the division yet again, they've dug themselves in a hole, and the Nationals aren't that far behind them. And I had high expectations for the Nationals this year. I thought they could be sniffing 500, but you got to start winning baseball games like tomorrow against the Diamondbacks with Jake Irvin on the bump, followed by Mitchell Parker, and then followed by Michael Soroka on Sunday, who goes up against Corbin Burns, who could be a Cy Young finalist in just a few months. But some people might say, torpedo bats, that's the answer. Well, it might be. I'll tell you more about torpedo bats after we tell you about some of our very good friends over at Just Ingredients. And guys, when it comes to fueling your body, quality matters. And that's why Just Ingredients is changing the game with clean, high quality products designed to support better health and peak performance. Just Ingredients offers an NSF certified line of protein powder, electrolytes, and pre-workout and creatine, all rigorously tested to ensure they're free from substance banned by major athletic organizations. Just Ingredients has also partnered with two-time MVP Bryce Harper, who trusts their NSF certified sports line to fuel his training and recovery. And I love that Just Ingredients prioritizes wholesome, nourishing ingredients without the artificial junk. I just got their strawberry limeade pre-workout, and I use that now religiously every single day. It gives me that energy boost that I need before working out, and it just makes me feel like a professional athlete, like Bryce Harper, our old friend here in town. He uses Just Ingredients. So when you use Just Ingredients, visit justingredients.us and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. And for more wellness tips, follow at just.ingredients on Instagram. Now, let me tell you about my favorite snack over at Wonderful Pistachios. And are you looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious? Crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts, and each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help keep you feeling fuller for longer. And personally, I love the no shells variety. It's a perfect grab and go snack for busy days, whether I'm snacking at my desk, on a road trip, or just need a quick protein boost. They're always my go-to. And if you love cracking open every shell for that satisfying crunch, the in-shell options are a classic favorite. And the satisfying crack of opening each shell, it's like snack meditation. Whether you're running between meetings or dropping off the kids, Wonderful Pistachios are the snack that works as hard as you do. So get snacking and get cracking with the snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. Now let's get back into it, discussing torpedo bats. And I am so glad we can now talk about this because Mike Rizzo commented on this yesterday. He was on with 106.7 The Fan yesterday morning, and they kind of joked around with him about torpedo bats. And I'm going to paraphrase here, but he did say that the Nationals will be ordering some torpedo bats. For those of you who don't know what torpedo bats are, let me explain it to you this way. Do you remember the big barrel bats as a kid? When you finally get to the big field, you get a bigger barrel bat. That is what this torpedo bat basically is, except it shifts the weight from the end of the bat, or maybe at the middle of the bat, into the barrel there. So yes, it is a slightly bigger barrel. And at first I was like, this has to be illegal, because the Yankees, they had some MIT physicists come in and test this bat over the last few years, and they have got it passed by Major League Baseball. It is within regulations. But now you look at guys like Anthony Volpe and Jazz Chisholm, guys who, at least for Volpe, these past few years, has not really hit for power. Well, he's now started with his torpedo bat, and he has 3 home runs. I believe he had 14 all of last year, and he played in 160 plus games last year. Torpedo bats are now the new frenzy. And if I'm the Nationals right now, yeah, I would absolutely consider a torpedo bat at this point. In my opinion, and again, the data is still out there to kind of be determined what this is and how it really affects hitters. But a torpedo bat, from what I can tell, it's going to generate higher exit velocities and further distance that a ball can travel because the barrel is bigger and there's more mass at the barrel of the bat. Your goal as a hitter is to barrel up a baseball. If I'm the Nationals, I am jumping on this wave like yesterday. Get on this right now. Because the Nationals, while they don't really have a slugging issue at this point, it's certainly going to help. And I think guys like Josh Bell, for instance, he would benefit from it. His lone goal this year is to hit for power. If the torpedo bat is going to allow you to hit for more power, which in my opinion, I think it will, then get him on it. I'm sure you could probably have some study in the background here that indicates that, well, it doesn't really help you with blooper hits because if you hit one off the end of the bat, it's going to travel a little less than what it has in years past because you're taking more wood off that bat and putting it at the middle of the barrel there. And so, guys, if you get jammed, you're in trouble. So you basically have to barrel up the baseball. But you're talking about major league hitters here. They will find a way to barrel up the baseball. And if you're telling me that these bats will help you generate more exit velo, generate more distance, then sign me up for it. As far as my opinion goes on the torpedo bats, and you guys aren't asking, but I want to share this. I think the torpedo bats should be banned because, again, as I was saying, it's going to generate higher exit velos. It's going to generate a little bit more harder contact. And if you remember the spider tack thing, and I know what people are going to say, well, that is a foreign substance that helps pitchers. Yeah, I guess so. But if pitchers can't use something to improve their spin rate a little bit, why do hitters get a bigger barrel to generate more exit velo? It's an offensive game today, and that's what Rob Manfred has preached. They have not really said that they do, but they kind of tinker with the baseballs a little bit in the summer, and all of a sudden the balls start to fly, especially at Yankee Stadium there. So I think that these torpedo bats, they probably won't go away overnight, but I would not be surprised to see a little bit of an uproar. And we already kind of have seen some of it from starting pitchers coming out and saying that, like, you know, these things are Bush League, I believe was the quote that I saw over the weekend from the Milwaukee Brewers, who got just throttled by the New York Yankees and Yankee Stadium. So it's an interesting discussion to have. We'll certainly talk about it more, but let me know who's going to be the first National to use a torpedo bat. My bet is Josh Bell. That's going to be my guess. I would not be surprised to see him use it maybe in the next few weeks. I don't know if there's been someone experimenting with it already, but it is an interesting topic sitting here today. But of course, we are out of time. I will catch you guys on tomorrow's episode of Locked On Nationals. I'll catch you on the flip side. Have a good one. Go Nats.